Welcome, everybody, to ESPN FC Live. We're here 12 p.m.-ish, weekdays every week. Luis Miguel Echegaray, Dalen, Shaka, Hislop. Apologies for being a little late today. Shaka Hislop was doing his laundry, and I think it's still going, Shaka, right?
It's on the sprint cycle right now.
His unmentionables are getting worked right now.
Well, listen, Shaka Hislop's delicates are very delicate and important, so we're going to make sure we take care of them. But welcome, everybody, to ESPN FC Live on YouTube, of course, streaming, as I mentioned, 12 p.m. Eastern onwards every week throughout the entire season. Dalen Cup, of course, Shaka Hislop, LME. We'll be talking about the Premier League. We'll also be talking about Lionel Messi, who plays tonight for Inter Miami, as well as some transfer rumors and much more. But we begin with Real Madrid, everybody. Some injury worries, Shaka and Dalen Cuff. Let's show this graphic for everybody, because even though they've won 3 games straight in the beginning of LaLiga, this is an extensive absentee list. Of course, we know about Thibaut Courtois out for the season. Eder Militao, a significant part of the defensive unit for Carlo Ancelotti, out for the season as well. Mendy returns this week. Dani Ceballos returns this week. Arda Güler, the young, talented Turkish attacker, out for 4 weeks. And Vinicius Jr., the most significant of that list, out for 4 weeks, hopefully in time for El Clásico, which you can watch here on ESPN Plus later in October. Shaka, let's begin with you. This is a big list. Who does it worry you when you look at this for Real Madrid? Do you think they'll be out of it as long as it's the beginning of the season? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit worrying for a couple of reasons. Let's keep in mind that Real Madrid finished second to Barcelona last season, lost Karim Benzema in the off-season, brought in Jude Bellingham, who started unbelievable. I don't think anybody expected Jude Bellingham to be as good as he has been straight out the traps, and thankfully so for Real Madrid. But you lose Vinicius Jr., who has been easily Real Madrid's most creative player over the last couple of seasons, and in the absence of Benzema, you felt even more would be asked of him, and albeit that is for the shorter term. Also, and maybe I'm showing my bias a little bit here, but Thibaut Courtois, who I think has established himself to be the best goalkeeper in the world over the last 12 or 18 months, probably a little bit longer than that, being out for the rest of the season, that is very significant. I'm not sure how you replace a goalkeeper of that quality, especially when you look back, not last season, but the season before, when Real Madrid won both the league and Champions League. I thought, and again, I might be in the minority here, I thought Thibaut Courtois was Real Madrid's most valuable player, particularly in those last 3 or 4 months. So that, for me, is a significant blow.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Thibaut Courtois is probably the biggest absentee there, aside from obviously Karim Benzema winning all those awards and arguably one of the greatest goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world. Dalen, when you look at that list, Real Madrid, it's early in the season. They have Getafe this weekend. You would think that they could do it. Jude Bellingham, of course, is doing his thing. 4 goals already for Los Blancos. But do you worry? Do you think they should be a little bit more aggressive before the end of the transfer window?
Well, Carlo Ancelotti said they're not going to be. If they stick to that, I was a little surprised. I mean, Shaka, you can puff out your chest as a member of the goalkeeper union. Yeah, losing Courtois is a huge deal. That's not biased. That's a fact, man. And then when you think about this, it's Vinny Jr. and Thibaut Courtois. You could argue 2 of the best 3 players in terms of a wide attacking player and a goalkeeper in the world. Like they may be 2 of the 3 best guys in their respective positions, and to take them out of a lineup and one for the entire season is a huge problem. I always look at things through the lens of the odds. You guys know that. Real Madrid is still the favorite to win this. That's really because Barcelona dropped points in their opener. They're at 7 points and Madrid is at 9. Those 2, almost unlike any league in top 5 league, in terms of just those 2 results are the only thing that move the odds, it seems. Even injuries don't tend to move the odds. It really is those 2 teams and how they perform relative to one another. All that said, I'm interested to see how Ancelotti adjusts a little bit. When you lose, this team was already kind of narrow. How they find width and creativity from the wide flanks with losing Vinny's going to be interesting. Bellingham's been great. Ancelotti also said, hey, we're good on the offensive side of the ball. We've scored 6 goals. Well, Jude Bellingham's gotten 4 of them. I'm out of an attacking midfield position. Like they need to have guys up top that can score. So I have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. I always say both ends of the pitch now. And you mentioned Getafe, but then they have international break. You got Real Sociedad, who's not started well, but obviously finished in the top 4 last year. You have Atleti, who they crushed Rayo the other day. I don't know what that means, but they are still in the mix there at top of the table and will probably beat the rest of the season. So they have 2 of their most formidable opponents potentially in that window where Vinny's gone, and you mix in Champions League games. So this is going to get thick and fast throughout September. So this is definitely a concern.
Go ahead, Shaka, jump in as we close up on Real Madrid, because one thing that I think we also have to mention is that the Champions League will return as well, and things will get tougher as the months go along. I actually thought, Shaka, it was really weird not to try and replace Karim Benzema with it doesn't have to be a Benzema replica, but Real Madrid always needs that number 9, right? As Dalen said, despite the Jude Bellingham goals. What do you think?
Listen, I wonder how much of that is just keeping room for Kylian Mbappe. No, I've said here, I think I've said on one of these episodes that we do, that my belief is that Kylian Mbappe was not going to move during the summer transfer window, and I know we've got 24 hours left before that slam shut, and at least half of my prediction will come true. The other half to that is I think Real Madrid make a fresh approach. I think he moves come January, and right now I know, well, as far as I'm aware, not too many people discussing that. Whenever a transfer window reopens, Kylian Mbappe just seems to be a topic of discussion, whether he wants it or not. But I kind of feel that that's the more likely or most likely of the scenarios surrounding Kylian Mbappe. Now, whether that proves to be a mistake in hindsight, with that big void left on the left with Vinicius injury, time will tell. But I still feel there's a lot of time. It's a long season. Real Madrid won't be judged by what happens in the group stages of the Champions League. I know we haven't seen that draw yet, but I expect Real Madrid to get out of the group stages just because they're Real Madrid. And then back end of the season is when it gets really meaningful in Spanish football. You just don't want to let anybody, be it Atleti, be it Barcelona, get too much of a gap, but those gaps can be closed in the second half of the season. So it's not by any means doom and gloom in terms of the injury list or the likelihood of them lifting silverware.
Of course, a lot of this depends if they stay healthy and they don't lose anybody else. And they'll be looking at this packed schedule, as the guy said, regarding European competitions.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.